Hi everyone, welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to discuss group by clause in SQL. Well, the group by clause is used to arrange identical data into groups. This is particularly useful when combined with aggregate functions to summarize the data. Well, the group by clause is often used with aggregate functions such as count, sum, average, max and min to perform calculations on each group. Alright, so let us go ahead and let us understand everything about group by clause with examples. So let us head over to the MySQL Workbench over here and go to the query editor. Here we have created a couple of SQL statements in previous lecture. So let us copy them and go to the notepad and just paste them. So here just we are taking backup of these SQL statements from previous lecture. Next go back to again MySQL Workbench. Next let us remove all these SQL statements and just drop the existing table so that we can start fresh. Drop table employees and just execute this statement. Refresh the schemas. The employees table is successfully dropped. Next let us create a new employees table with some sample data. So here is a SQL statements, like this is the create table statement to create an employees table. It has a column ID, first name, last name, email, salary, department. This is the insert into statement to insert some sample data into employees table. Next let us select these two SQL statements and execute them. Next, in order to verify the result, here just type the select statement, select star from employees. Next execute this select statement and here you can see the output. So we have a employees table with 6 records. Next let us go ahead and let us see how to use group by clause in SQL. Well, we use group by clause to group the data. For example, let us say we want to group the employees by their department. For example, the IT department has employees Ramesh, Arjun and Umesh, and the HR department has employees Ram and Priya. Similarly, sales department has employee Sita. Now what we want to do is we want to count the number of employees in each department. Well, here let us write the SQL statement to group the employees by department and count the number of employees in each department. So just type select followed by the column name from which we are going to group, that is department, and then followed by the aggregate function. So here we are going to count the number of employees in each department. For that let us use the count aggregate function and then pass star wildcard. And let us give the alias as well. Let us say employee underscore count. Okay, next let us have a from employees and then group by clause and then department. Okay, so this is the SQL statement to group the employees by department and count the number of employees in each department. And notice here the syntax, select followed by the column name from which we are going to group and then followed by the aggregate function count and then from the table and then group by and then column name. So this is the basic syntax of using group by clause. Next let us select this SQL statement and just execute it, and here you can see the output, department and employee count. So IT department has 3 employees, HR department has 2 employees, sales department has 1 employee. So this is how we can use group by clause to group the employees by department. Next let us see how to use group by clause with multiple columns. So here just copy this select statement and just paste it over here, and here let us specify the multiple columns in a group by clause. So let us say we want to group the employees by department and last name and count the number of employees in each group. So here group by clause and then department, comma, last underscore name. Next we have to specify these two column names in the select statement. Okay, so whatever the column we mention in the group by clause, same column name we have to mention in the select statement as well. Next just select this query and execute it, and here you can see the output. So here to group the employees by department and last name and count the number of employees in each group, we have specified the group by clause with department and last name column, and this is the output. So IT department and the last name Padtare has employee 2, and then HR department last name employee count is 1. And if I select all the employees from this table, and here if you can notice here last name Padtare and last name Padtare, so these are the 2 employees which are belong to IT department. That's why you can see the count 2. For instance, let me execute this select statement which is using group by with multiple columns, and if you can see the output over here. So IT department has 2 employees who has a last name Padtare. HR department has a employee with last name Jadhav and the count is 1. And sales department has an employee 1 with a last name Patel, like that. Alright, so this is how we use group by clause with the multiple columns. Next, let us see how to use group by clause with the aggregate functions. So as of now we have used count aggregate function, but there are also other aggregate functions like sum, average, max, min. Okay, so let us go ahead and use group by clause with sum aggregate function. Well, we use sum aggregate function to calculate sum of a numerical data, and here we are going to write the SQL statement to calculate the total salary for each department. And if you can again query the complete table, you can see here the salary. Now let us write the SQL statement to calculate the total salary for each department. For example, this IT department has a 3 employees, and these 3 employees has a salary like 25,000, 20,000, 20,000. The total sum is 65,000. And the HR department has 2 employees and the total salary is 20 plus 15, 35,000. Sales department has a single employee whose salary is 15,000. So in this way we are going to calculate the total salary of each department by using group by clause and sum aggregate function. Okay, so here let us write the SQL statement. So just type select followed by the column from which we are going to group, that is department, and then use the aggregate function sum. The sum aggregate function expect the column, so just pass the salary column over here, and then let us give the alias by using as keyword, and let us give the alias name total underscore salary, and next from employees table. Next, let us use the group by clause and specify the column from which we are going to group the data, that is department. This is it. Okay, this is the SQL statement to calculate the total salary for each department. Okay, next let us execute this SQL statement, and here you can see the output. The IT department has a total salary 65,000, HR department has a salary 35,000, sales department has salary 15,000. So this is how we can use group by clause with sum aggregate function to calculate the total salary for each department. Okay, perfect. Next, let us go ahead and let us see how to use group by clause with average aggregate function. So here basically we are going to write the SQL statement to calculate the average salary for each department using group by clause and average aggregate function. So it is pretty simple. Just type select department and then followed by the aggregate function, that is average. So average aggregate function expect the column name, so just pass salary column name, and let us give the alias by using as keyword average underscore salary, and then from employees, and then group by clause department. Simple, right? Next, let us select this SQL statement and just execute it, and here you can see IT department has average salary 21,666 dot so on. HR department has average salary, sales department has average salary. Okay, so this is how we can use group by clause along with average aggregate function to calculate the average salary for each department. Okay, perfect. Next, let us go ahead and let us see how to use group by clause along with max aggregate function to find highest salary in each department. Okay, it's pretty simple. So just copy this SQL statement, just paste it over here, and here instead of average aggregate function, just call max aggregate function, and then here let us give the alias name highest underscore salary. That's it. Next, let us select this SQL statement and just execute it, and here you can see IT department has a highest salary 25,000, HR department has a highest salary 20,000, sales department has a highest salary 15,000. So if you want to see the exact data, just select all the records from employees table, and here you can see IT department has 3 employees, and among these 3 employees, Ramesh employee has a highest salary, that is 25,000. That is what we can see in the output. So here let me execute this SQL statement again, and here you can see 25,000 is the highest salary in IT department. Okay, perfect. Next, let us go ahead and let us see how to use group by clause with min aggregate function to find the minimum salary in each department. Okay, it's pretty simple. Just copy this SQL statement and paste it over here. Instead of max aggregate function, just call min aggregate function, and here let us give the alias name lowest underscore salary. Next, select this SQL statement and just execute it, and here you can see the output. IT department has a lowest salary 20,000, HR 15, sales 15. If you want to see the real data, exact data, just select star from employees and look at the HR department. HR department has Ram and Priya, these 2 employees, and the highest salary for Ram employee 20,000 and the lowest salary for Priya employee 15,000. So this is what we can see in the output. For example, let me execute this SQL statement again, and here you can see HR department has the lowest salary 15,000. Okay, so this is how we can use group by clause along with min aggregate function to calculate the lowest salary for each department. Well, let me recap what we have done in this lecture. We have seen how to group the employees by department and count the number of employees in each department. Next, we have seen how to use group by clause with multiple columns. Next, we have seen how to use group by clause with aggregate function sum. Next, we have seen how to use group by clause with aggregate function average. Next, we have seen how to use group by clause with max aggregate function. Next, we have seen how to use group by clause with min aggregate function. Alright, great. I will see you in the next lecture.